Good evening and welcome to day 5 of the ATAL sponsored 6-day online FDP on next gen communications, technologies and applications. Hope you have gathered learnings from day 4, which might have provided you with two power packed sessions. Mr. Bhushan Deshmukh, who walked us through the critical role of cybersecurity in next gen communications, reminding us that trust and safety must be the backbone of future networks. Then we had our overseas speaker, Mr. Venkat Davrapalli, who broadened our horizons with the global perspectives on next gen communication, showing how enterprises worldwide are harnessing innovation and AI to transform communication experiences. Carrying that energy forward, we now move forward to session 9 on smart city communication infrastructure. This is a subject that touches each one of us as our cities evolve into smarter, more connected ecosystems. And I'm delighted to introduce our distinguished speaker, Mr. Bhushan Deshmukh, partner at Smart Devices and Appliances Company with over 20 years of rich experience in telecom, instrumentation, real estate and banking. He has been associated with leading organizations such as Bharti Airtel and Reliance. His expertise lies in sales, product design, and ensuring last mile connectivity. We look forward to gaining his insights on how communication infrastructure forms the backbone of smart cities and enables innovations for the future. Sir, we are looking forward to learn from you. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you and good evening to all. Today's session topic is smart city communication infrastructure. As it consists of three names: smart city, communication, and infrastructure. So to lay down a smart city perspective in terms of data collection, transmission of the data, and the processing of the data. So the city needs to have a proper communication infrastructure in the place. So the smart city communication infrastructure is also known as information and communication technology infrastructure, which in short form we call it an ICT. And it is a foundational digital and telecommunication network that connects sensors, devices, and systems to collect, process, and share data across a city, enabling the real-time data collection and exchange. To manage and to maintain the various operations of the facilities, it is very important to have a data collection in the real time, like security, but public security, public transportation, how to make the transportation more smarter, more effective, and how to elevate the lifestyle and life of the citizens. So it is very important to have a proper communication network and a proper infrastructure in place. So this communication infrastructure enables the functionality of smart city services by facilitating communication between humans, machine, and systems. Using technologies like IoT, Internet of Things, 5G, wireless, high-speed networks, fiber optic is the backbone in the today's world to carry the vast communication data from one end to the other end. Wireless LANs, these are the local area networks, which also helps in collecting the data locally wherein the short range communication is concerned. Similarly, Bluetooth LE stands for low energy. Microwave radio communication. So we'll see one by one. So this communication infrastructure is the robust and scalable infrastructure crucial for urban management, enhancing services like managing the traffic, automated traffic signaling, air pollution control, energy services management, energy management and energy conservation, public safety, managing utilities like water, waste, transportation, logistics, citizen engagement, smart public transportation systems. So these all facilities were there before also, but we are managing mainly on the great human interference or the delays. So this infrastructure make all these facilities as more smarter, easily accessible, and is really creating an impact on the individual lives of the citizens. When I talk about the key infrastructure deployments, IoT-based street lighting monitoring and management system is being deployed everywhere in almost all smart cities. to effectively monitor, manage, and maintain the street lighting of the city, wherein the energy saving is also an important aspect of making the street lighting smarter. IoT smart poles to collect various real-time data and communications. In coming days, you will see along with the light poles, or maybe in the light poles, you will see a lot of technological improvements in terms of, and these poles will be used for various data collection, not only for illuminating the streets. IoT smart air quality monitoring systems in many cities, these systems are already in place. Those are monitoring the air quality, indicating the air quality index to the citizens also, and also centrally is getting monitored, and corrective measure and actions are getting taken to arrest the pollution in the various cities. Smart public transport systems and smart traveling apps. So traveling app means in many cities or maybe in the abroad, you must have seen there is only one smart card which you can use to travel to any public transport, whether it is metro, railway, or it is bus. So it gives a convenience to the citizen to travel seamlessly by using only one smart card. Smart waste collection systems that manages the waste collection smartly, alerts, and that enables collection teams to make or set their routes to collect, from where to collect first, so that to keep the city more clean and smarter. Now, when we talk about the infrastructure communication, there are three components and technologies: Internet of Things, IoT, IoT devices. Those are ears and eyes of the system. Data management platforms. There are various platforms needs to be laid out to manage the vast collected data, to process the data, and to take out the meaningful data from the data, and to trigger the necessary alarms or informations. And network technologies, those need to be deployed to collect all those data in real time with the accuracy and without any data losses. Now, when we talk about the network technologies, the fiber optics uh, cable network is today's most trusted and most used networks across the globe because of its high capacity, high speed wired connections for robust backbone networks, handles huge backhaul data transmission, provide high speed and low latency connectivity for transporting vast amount of data from one point to the other point. Short range wireless technology is also being used, like Bluetooth low energy, LAN local area networks, Wi-Fi for device to device communication, and peer-to-peer communication as well, or smaller area to collect the data over a smaller area and then to hand over the data for main backbone to transport data or transmit that data to the destination. Wireless networks like 5G and Wi-Fi for broad area and localized connectivity offer high speed. Now, currently, the 5G has a capacity to offer a speed up to 20 Gbps with latency in milliseconds, means the high speed data with a low latency. Upcoming CG networks will make it more better. The data speed can go up to 1 Tbps with ultra low latency in the less than a millisecond. So it will create you a real-time world, low power wide area networks. This is also technology which is recently invented, which also called as the LoRa. LoRa stands for long range, low energy. So designed for IoT devices, these networks doesn't need any 5G or existing support of any network. This technology create their own network with low power consumptions. It creates a long range, low frequency radio network band able to communicate over up to 100 kilometers. So it simply means that if the sensor or the device is connected over 100 kilometer away from its access point, can establish comfortably communication with the access point. Microwave radio wireless communications. These are communications method is targeted for the remote places where laying of the cable is practically not possible or not viable also due to low density population to be served, because microwave radio communication is like slightly costlier than the other communication methods. It's targeted for very long distance communication. Data security. When we are talking about the data, when we are talking about the data collection, data transmission, and data management, data security is important. Advanced security solutions like firewalls, intrusion detection, encryption, and regular updates are essential to protect sensitive data and prevent breaches in the interconnected urban network. Now, when we talk about the network technology, particularly wireless network technology, a cellular BTS is an important aspect in the network to handle the transmission and receiver end of the network. A cellular BTS is called as the base transceiver station. It receives and it transmits the data. We can also call it a WAN. The BTS is also your wide area network only. It's the radio equipment in the cell tower that connects mobile devices to the mobile network. It receives and transmits radio signals to and from mobile phones, acting as the network interface to user devices like smartphone, tablets, etc. The BTS handles user data and signaling, and it's the fundamental part of all mobile generations, right from 2G to 5G and in future 6G as well. This is the typical diagram of a cellular tower communication architecture. So the MS stands for mobile stations, that is the mobile users. Those are primarily connected with the tower. The BTS, we also in general language we call it as a tower. And the tower has the antennas which radiates the network in the various sectors. So the primarily mobile stations and mobile devices are connected with the towers antennas. And from there they receive and communicate with the tower, and further tower is connected with the BTS unit, which is also called as the base transceiver station. The base transceiver stations receives the data and communicates send that data to the BSC, is the base station controller. So more than one BTS can be connected with the BSC, and the BSC further get connected with the MSC, the mobile switching center. And more than one BSCs can also be connected with the one mobile switching center. Mobile switching center is the heart of wireless communication, which handles the huge amount of data, process that data, and act upon the data. The various systems are connected with the mobile switching center to manage the data and to keep the data safe and to keep the user information, like the PSTN. PSTN is a public switch telephone network, जिसको हम लोग exchange क्या करते थे, हम लोग देखते भी है, जैसे BSNL exchange or XYZ exchange. So the major job, the primarily job of PSTN is to serve all the wireline consumers and users. Your MSC that connected with the VLR, HLR, OMC, AUC, and EIR. The VLR is the visitor location register. I'll explain it one by one. HLR stands for home location register. OMC is operation and maintenance center. AUC is authentication center, and EIR is the equipment identity register. The MSCs are located in the various cities, and each MSC caters a particular area. So whenever the user are visiting from other MSC location to the other MSC location, so all those user data is saved into the VLR. So the VLR job is to save the data of the visitor to the particular MSC from the other MSC location. HLR is the home location register, which saves the data of home location users. It means that if a Pune customer is purchasing a mobile connection from the Pune, so the Pune MSC will save the data in the HLR, that is the home location register. That customer is the home customer for that particular MSC. OMC is the operation and maintenance center. which maintains, operates, and monitors all the activities, errors, correct the errors of the MSC, and it is a control station for the MSC. Now, authentication center authenticate the user with their respective KYCs. So all the user data is been authenticated and kept in the authorization center. EIR, equipment identity register, star job is to save the identity of all the users and their respective mobile, you can say mobile plans, or their status, active status or inactive status. Particular user is active on the network or inactive on the network, what pack is using, what plan is using, etc., etc. All this information is being stored and kept into the identity register. So this is the architecture of a mobile wireless network, or more or less the similar architecture is needs to be formed for a smart city as well, which we will see in the subsequent slides. Now, these are the key functions and components associated with the BTS communication. As I said, the BTS communicate with mobile devices and the core network, routing calls and data, etc. Radio equipment, it contains transceivers, combines transmitter and receivers to send and receive the radio signals. Antennas are mounted on the tower to transmit and receive these radio signals. Signal processing, the BTS encodes, encrypts, and modulates the radio signals before transmission. Encoding converts the data into different format like binary to make it understandable across systems or for efficient transmission. Encryption scrambles this data using keys to protect its confidentiality, making it unreadable to unauthorized users. So when the things comes to a data transmission, so the huge amount of data needs to be transmitted with the proper security. So for that reason, the data is first in scrambles in the packets, and then each particular package is locked with an unique keys to protect the data, and then the data is transferred to its destination. Modulation is the process for imposing data onto a carrier wave by altering its characteristics like amplitude or phase to physical transmit it through a communication channel. Baseband unit BBU, in modern networks, a BBU processes the digital baseband signals and connects the base station to the core network via optical fiber. Radio unit or RRU amplifies the signal from the BBU and sends them to the antenna. Evolution of ETSs is from 2G, GSM network, 3G, 4G, 5G for 5G networks. We all have witnessed the transition from this networks from 2G to 4G to 5G. In essence, the BTS is a crucial piece of hardware that forms a wireless link between your phone and the larger mobile network, enabling all your mobile services. Now, next important infrastructure is the optical fiber network. The optical fiber network is a backbone of the communication, whether it is wireless communication or is a wireline communication. Smart city fiber communication infrastructure is a high-speed, reliable, and secure optical network that functions as the digital backbone for all city services and applications. The fiber layout is typically designed in a tiered, layered, and often redundant topologies to maximize efficiency and reliability. Layered architecture of a smart city fiber network. A smart city fiber layout is best understood through its architectural layer, which categorizes the network based on its function and reach and need. Now, when it comes to the layer architecture of the smart city fiber network, a smart city fiber layout is best understood through its architectural layer, as I said, so which categorizes the network based on its function, reach, and need. So the first layer is a backbone or core layer. then the feeder layer or metro layer, distribution layer or access or drop point. Backbone or core layer is the strongest layer of the fiber network, which manages the huge amount of data. Feeder layer is to feed the data at the various distribution for the various distribution layer, and access or drop point layer are specifically dedicated to cater the consumer or the user. There, the backbone or core layer is served as the central high capacity network connecting major data centers, central offices, and city-wide point of presence. They also connect all the BTSs to the MSCs and all the MSCs to each other, and that is how the wireless data has been spread in the complete geography of the country and worldwide. Layout and deploy often deployed in self-healing ring topologies for maximum redundancy. If a cable is cut at any point, data is rerouted the opposite direction, ensuring no service disruption. These high fiber count cables are typically buried underground for physical protection and run along major roadways and existing utilities right of way. Now, feeder or metro layer branches out from the core backbone to distribute fiber to different districts or neighborhoods or throughout the cities, or to distribute the fiber with the large complexes, industries. The layout uses high fiber count cables in a star or a ring and a star configuration, routing traffic from the central office to smaller hubs known as fiber distribution hubs. Now the next is the distribution layer. Distribution layer connects the feeder network to individual buildings. The network which first is coming from the backbone, then the feeder, and then the distribution. So the distribution networks is individual buildings, streets, and other infrastructures. This is the layer that connects the city's smart applications. So whenever it comes to the smart city layout, so the distribution layer is the main layer which connects the various points or various locations in the smart city applications. Its layout consists of lower fiber count cables are run from the fiber distribution hub to network access points, which are often mounted on utility poles or located in streets, side cabinets, or also laid along the roads with the very narrow channels. Then the final layer is access or drop point layer, provides the final connection from NAP to the end user, including smart sensors, residential buildings, and commercial enterprises. Or in other words, all these buildings or sensors or IoT is connected to their nearest access point. Layout uses individual or small bundle of fiber, often known as a drop cables, to connect a single endpoint or multiple units in a building. Now, here are some common fiber network topologies. Those are getting used uh, for various fiber networks architectures. Network topology defines how the elements of the fiber networks are connected. Most common for smart cities is a combination of redundant ring and star patterns. Ring and star topologies, the core backbone is a ring providing high reliability. The feeder and distribution network use a star formation with fiber branching out from central point to reach a wide area efficiently. So these four are common topologies are getting used: bus, ring topologies, star, and mesh topologies. So bus topology is something like that. A straight cable is laid out from one node to another node. So this is not, since it is not reliable, so it is not used widely in the fiber network topologies. However, ring, star, and mesh topologies are the common topologies are used because of their reliability. Now, when we talk about the ring topology, this is the figure. It shows how the ring topology is being laid. So the optical fiber lines, the backbone lines are laid in terms of the rings, creating a multiple nodes, and all the devices like a BTS and station users are connected with the nodes with the help of the distribution. And as I said, we discussed in earlier slide, star topology. In the stars topology, a star coupler is created centrally, and the lines are branched out from the star couplers to connect the station users trunk. Now in mesh topology, an arbitrary connection is formed between the nodes in the network. This point-to-point connection can be changed according to the applications. This shows the flexible nature of star topology, as in case of failure of one node, others can be used for the signal transmission. So the distance from one node to another node could be in the meter or could be in the kilometers as well. Here are some smart city application which is powered by fiber networks. The fiber network serves as a vast array of applications that make a city smart. The few are as below: smart transportation, real-time data from traffic signals, cameras, various sensors to manage traffic flow, reduce congestion, and improve public transit. Public safety, the high resolution video surveillance systems, energy communication systems, and real-time data sharing among energy emergency services. Smart utility consists of real-time monitoring and management of electricity, water, and gas, network for efficiency and predictive maintenance. Smart infrastructure, sensor embedded in our roads, bridges, and buildings monitor their structural health and performance. 5G wireless connectivity, fiber optic backhaul is essential for connecting dense networks of 5G small cells, providing ultra-low latency wireless services. Now, next is sensors and IoT devices. The various sensors and IoT devices are used for the various data acquisition to the central hub for processing that data and converting that data into the meaningful information, triggering alarms, etc. Sensors are the core components of an Internet of Things devices, detecting and measuring physical conditions like temperature, humidity, and motion, etc., to convert them into digital data. IoT devices use these sensors to gather information from the environment, which is then transmitted and processed over the Internet, enabling intelligent interactions, automation, and monitoring across various applications and industries. What are these IoT sensors? The IoT sensors are the foundational element. They act as an eye and ears of an IoT system, providing the essential data that allows smart devices to function and interact with their surroundings. Detectors, they are detectors of physical changes. IoT sensors are physical devices that are designed to perceive and measure specific aspect of the environment, such as light, pressure, sound, motion, temperature, humidity, gas level, smoke level, pollution level, etc., etc. Data converters, these are the important part of the data sensors. These sensors take real world physical parameters and transform them into a digital data. Yeah. So the sensors are on their own are not capable of converting this data into a digital data, but what they sense, they convert majorly into electrical signals. Then to make this data understandable to a central system or the access points, to transmit those data from one end to another end, it is necessary to convert that data into the digital formats. The system only understand the data in the digital format. So that is why this A to D converter, analog to digital data converters, and the MCUs are used that can be easily transmitted the data can be easily transmitted, processed, and understood by other electronic system, MCUs, and various softwares. Now, next important part is the data transmission. After acquiring the data, it is very important the data should get transferred to the nearest access point, and from access point further to data servers or the destination wherever the data is to be sent with a low latency and more possible in the real-time world. So this digital data from sensor is then sent over a network to other devices or a central system. So microcontroller units further convert data into a meaningful data into binary digital format and make it ready to transfer to its assigned destination address through their respective access points. RF transceivers. So apart from the mobile networks, 5G networks, or any other networks, the RF transceivers are also important in the infrastructure of smart city or infrastructure of the IoT, you can say. The RF transceiver without any internet support transmit and receive data to and from its assigned destination for further processing and transmission. And these RF receivers form a local area network, so they are good to use for low range connectivity or from the nearest. Sorry. LoRa networks. The LoRa networks are getting popular nowadays due to its long range and low energy characteristics. So they are basically the low frequency bands, RF networks, are capable of transferring the low payload data up to the 250 bytes data in the long range network. Peer-to-peer MCU own network like ESP32 node MCUs is a popular MCU nowadays, which have the embedded Wi-Fi and Bluetooth connectivity features. So they form their own Wi-Fi network or own Wi-Fi access point, which is programmed in the software. That is why it's called as the software access point. So it's as simple as we all know the mobiles, and we have one feature in the mobile like a mobile hotspot. Once I turn on the hotspot in my mobile, so my mobile becomes an access point to the others. So other people which those don't have a network in their mobile, they can connect to the network through my hotspot, to my mobile. So for them, my mobile is the access point and they are the station. In similar way, the ESP32 creates its own Wi-Fi network, the range up to 200 or 220 meters in open environment, and the range depends on the obstacles and etc. And can create its own LAN, and you can connect the multiple devices to this network and get your task achieved. They create their own short-range Wi-Fi network up to 200 meters, as I said. This type of MCU can create one-to-one and one-to-many network protocols. So these MCUs can be configured for communication between one-to-one MCU, or this can be configured to communicate between one-to-many or many-to-one. That is master to slave or slave to master server. Also, you can create a server to clients and client to server bidirectional, unidirectional communication by using various available combination possibility with these MCUs. Their limitations are short range and low payload of 250 bytes. So for the applications wherein you don't have a payload more than 250 bytes to be communicated, and you don't need a very large range communication for your IoT devices, so you can adopt this to gather the data locally, and then you can configure the access points of heavy data transmission mechanism like a Wi-Fi or the fiber network, and then you transmit that data to the destination. Similarly, BLE Bluetooth low energy can also be used for short range transmission data exchange without requiring any third party internet connection. Data platforms and control centers. So when the data platforms are concerned, the cloud computing is nowadays the famous computing, and worldwide it is used because of its various attractive features and benefits. It's used for storing and processing the vast amount of data collected from sensors and devices. Then integrated control centers, centralized platforms that receives, analyze, and share information across various city departments, enabling coordinated responses and energy management. The cloud servers is a virtual server created by partitioning a physical server. In earlier days, we need to have our own server, be it a small office or big office, which involves in buying infrastructure for a server, and that cost us. So nowadays, physical servers are owned and managed and maintained by a server owners, and those servers are partitioned and available for the user to access to the internet, providing users with remote access to on-demand processing, power, storage, and applications. Unlike traditional servers, cloud servers are hosted in data centers by a cloud provider and offer scalability, flexibility, and remote management capability, eliminating the need for on-site hardware. So the cloud computing is one of the most demanding technology for the current time, and is giving a new shape to every organization by providing on-demand virtualized services and resources. Starting from small to medium and medium to large, every organization uses cloud computing services for storing information and accessing it from anywhere and anytime only with the help of the internet. So cloud computing refers to the delivery of computing services such as servers, storage, databases, networking, software, analytics, and intelligence over the internet with pay-as-you-go pricing. It also called internet-based computing, where users get resources and services through the internet. This offers benefits like faster innovation, flexible resources, and cost savings. The data that is stored can be file, can be images, documents, or any other storable documents. Rather than buying, owning, and maintaining physical data centers and servers, user can access technology services such as computing power, storage, and databases on as needed basis from a cloud provider like AWS, GCP, and there are few other service providers also. Architecture of cloud computing. Cloud computing architecture is mainly divided into two parts. There's a front end and a back end. Architecture of cloud computing is the combination of SOA, service oriented architecture, or EDA, event driven architecture. Client infrastructure, application service, runtime cloud, storage, infrastructure, management, and security. All these are the components of cloud computing architecture. Now, the front end is particularly the user interface. Front end of cloud architecture refers to the client side of cloud computing system, means it contains all the user interfaces and applications which are used by the client to access the cloud computing services resources. So for example, use of a web browser to access the cloud platforms, or the infrastructure you need to access the cloud platforms, all those comes into the front end. The back end is particularly core the server side and the server owner. Backend refers to the cloud itself, which is used by the service provider. It contains the resources as well as manages the resources and provides security mechanism. Along with this, it includes huge storage, virtual applications, virtual machines, traffic control, mechanisms, development models, etc. They are the components of the cloud computing architecture: client infrastructure, graphical users interface to interact with the cloud, applications that refers to the software or platform which client accesses. It provides the services in backend as per the client requirement. Service is a backend refers to the major three types of cloud-based services like SaaS as software as a service. So wherein this cloud provider offers various softwares so that the client can access this the softwares, get their work done, and enjoy this the readily available softwares. So all the services comes in the software as a services. Then platform as a services, wherein the service provider provides a proper platforms for a developer or developer to create their own software services. So all the services comes in the platform as a service. And last is the infrastructure as a service. So all the infrastructure required to configure both the earlier two things if the user would like to do. So the all infrastructure is provided by a service provider in this particular service. They also manages which type of service a user accesses from the cloud server. Storage is something storage in the backend provides flexible and scalable storage services and management of stored data. Infrastructure includes cloud infrastructure in backend refers to the hardware and software components of the cloud. Security in the backend refers to implementation of different security mechanisms in the backend for secure cloud resources, systems, files, and infrastructure to end users. Internet connections act as a medium or a bridge between the front end and the back end and establishes the interaction and communication between front end and the back end. Database as the various databases are used. The backend refers to provide database for storing structured data such as SQL and NoSQL database. Example of database service includes Amazon RDS, Microsoft Azure database, and Google Cloud. Analytics in the backend services that provides analytics capabilities for data in the cloud, such as warehousing, business intelligence, and machine learning. Now, here are the examples of cloud computing architecture. Online learning apps. Now, in today's world, you see that the students are learning many things through the online learning apps. So they are interacting, they are solving the problems online. So all those comes in the online learning apps. Online stores, everyone is using online websites like Amazon and Flipkart. So I think I don't need to explain it over here how it works. Everyone knows. We order it, then that order will get acknowledged. Automatically, the payment gateway is just getting managed. The logistic and delivery systems are automated, wherein it's communicate to the users, and we can track the orders, payment history, refunds, cancellation, etc., etc. So all those things are managed by the service provider, cloud service provider. Mobile app backend, food delivery apps, think food delivery app like Zomato, Swiggy, etc. Smart travel card like one card for all public transport is being used in many countries. And there are many other services are getting used on the e-commerce platform. Now, this is the typical diagram of the cloud networking. So the cloud server, have the different type of server which is integrated and which is connected together and partition as an application server, file server, web servers, database servers, email servers, and are connected to the wireless network through the wire network switches and wireline network to the wireline network switches. And the users can access them, the network which we already discussed. And this is the architecture of a enterprise cloud networking, wherein as an enterprise site, all the access points are connected with the wired and the router, and on the server side, all the servers are connected to the routers. To router to by way of router to router communications, or the data on the server and the resources on the server has been accessed by the enterprises. So these are the popular microcontrollers in the today's world. So include ESP32, ESP8266 for their integrated Wi-Fi and Bluetooth capability. ESP32 LoRa module for its integrated LoRa line. The Arduino Uno Nano Mega for beginner-friendly use and community support. The Raspberry Pi Pico as an affordable programmable options, and the versatile STM32 series for its power and variety of ARM Cortex M cores. The best choice depends on the product's specific needs, such as power, consumption, connectivity, and complexity, and also your project type, etc. When it comes to MCU, how to choose the MCU? Consider these factors when selecting the MCU. That the connectivity, what type of connectivity you are looking for, it need a Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, or other communication protocols. The power consumption, is the device battery power or is the main power? It depends on your location, where you want to install this, from where you would like to collect the data. If it's a remote location, the power is available, conventional power is available or not available. So all those factors to be considered while choosing the power rating or power consumption of the sensors or the MCUs. Processing power and memory, how much computing power and storage does your project require? The processing power and memory, when it comes to MCU, that is the MCU memory, that is storage memory, flash memory, etc., etc. So you need to carefully select your MCUs based on your project needs. Cost, what is your budget for the MCU and associated components? So this is the cost is the important part while selecting the complete architecture of your project and the components of your project. Development ecosystem, what programming languages, libraries, and community supports are available. Accordingly, you need to choose the development ecosystem for a project. Sorry. Here are the available resources for the IoT programming of your IoT projects. Include popular languages like Python, C, C++, Java, and JavaScript, along with hardware platforms such as Arduino and Raspberry Pi. So as far as the language is concerned, C, C and C++ is getting used widely because of its simple to understand. Python is also getting used now by the new generation. Key deployment tools are the Arduino IDE, Arduino Cloud IDE, and Platforms IO. While major cloud providers like AWS, Azure, and Google Cloud offer specialized SDKs, learning resources include online courses from providers like Coursera and NPTEL, plus comprehensive tutorials on platforms like Deopedia and IoT for All. Artificial intelligence is the growing and getting popular day by day. and it's very important part of smart city applications as well. Alongside automation, artificial intelligence enhances smart cities by reducing dependence on moments of manual human decision making. AI algorithms can be used to optimize waste like waste collection routes or help law enforcement by analyzing data from security cameras to detect crime, traffic violations, real-time monitoring of gathering events, etc. These are the several technological applications which are already exist in smart city infrastructure. Smart grid to optimize energy, as I think we discussed it before also. In a consumption and distribution, thus reducing waste and promoting renewable energy resources, environmental monitoring systems, smart transportation systems, blockchain technologies, geographic information system. What role does design play in smart city development? Human-centered design plays a central role in the development of smart cities. It does so by engaging citizens and solving complex urban issues. This citizen-centered methodology revolves around a four-step process: empathy, ideation, prototyping, and testing. It's a proactive smart design approach that encourages innovations to create more livable and responsive urban environments. So the conclusion is imagination is a creation. Best of luck to you all. Thank you for your patience.
Well, thank you so much, sir. We would now request the participants to please post their questions in the chat box, and I would request the co-coordinator to kindly coordinate with the speaker.
Yes, sir. I'll request all the participants to please post the questions in the chat box. Okay. So we have question from participant. It seems the question is only half written. Yeah, okay. The question is here. So if the backbone layer is the highway of the internet, what happens when one lane cable is blocked, and how does the network keep the traffic flowing?
Yeah. As I said, the backbone network is laid in the ring topology.
Yes, sir. So the backbone layer is highway of the internet. So what happens when one lane cable is blocked, and how does the network keep traffic flowing?
Yeah. So let's take a look at the mesh topology. Okay. So the cable is laid in the mesh topology in this manner. If the fiber cuts in any of the branch, okay, the traffic is rerouted through the other branch without any interruption.
Okay.
So it is laid it is laid in that manner, taking care of all those things.
Okay. Sir, there is one more question which one of the participants they want to know that what is the main advantage of using cloud server over normal server?
See, the main advantage of using cloud server is that you don't have to put up your own server. So which need your place and the huge money in creating your own server, and it's also depending on the how much data you're looking to store.
Okay. Okay.
Along with that, the cloud server offer you, as I said, the services wherein you don't have to invest or create your own services like we have seen in this slide, software as a services, platform as a services, infrastructure as a services. All these services are integrated and provided by the cloud server. So this makes your innovation, your project is more simpler, cost effective, and
Okay.
the more and maximum resources is available in the cloud servers. And also the community support is available if you get stuck in between. So that's the
Okay.
advantage of the cloud servers.
Okay.
And it can
Okay.
and these cloud servers are accessible anywhere from anywhere in the world.
Oh, okay. So, since we're talking about cloud, so there is one question from the participant that how much RF transceiver reliable while transmitting large database without internet? How much RF transceiver reliable while transmitting large database without internet?
No, wireless trans receivers are not meant to transfer the large database. They are they are they are, they are meant to create a network wherein your payload means your data or the data which you want to transfer from one into another end. For example, you have a sensor, you have application. Okay, you have application from where you would like to send some data and send that data to the like to your data center or data server or to your access point. Okay. But you don't have a network connectivity in that location, particular location. So to achieve your task, you can use these sensors, sorry, these trans receiver modules to transfer the data to up to your access point.
Okay. Okay.
So this is the example. Or you,
Okay.
if you are in a remote location, you don't have a good data connectivity. Okay, all across your location, for example. But still you want to acquire the data from the various location of that particular location. So you can use this LoRa or this RF trans receiver to get achieve your task to bring the data up to your access point, create a small server over there, and then latch that data to your main server through the available option for carrying a huge data or large amount of data like fiber or like a 5G networks.
Okay. Okay. And so one of the question is here that is there any other platform for students to use cloud-based services for practical purposes or any other option available to use the AWS or GCP services free?
See, for your small applications, you can use various, data transfer protocols like HTTP protocol or HTTP socket protocol. ठीक है, by using an MCU and the Wi-Fi, ठीक है, you can achieve this task. But why people use cloud? Because cloud is easily accessible from anywhere over the internet. Okay. So you can access your programs, you can access your data from anywhere in the world. But if you don't want to use the cloud for some any reason, or if you have any if your project or task which you want to keep the confidential or something like that, so you can create your own server client protocol and you can communicate it, with one to peer as we discussed earlier, peer to peer communication or one to many communication. So you can create your own network server client, etc.
Okay, so you are suggesting that in case of such situation, we can create our own servers. Okay, so this leads
Huh.
to, yeah,
But
so
those
one,
server, but those servers are for small tasks. Those servers are not able to manage your large amount of data.
okay, okay. So there is one more question that what is the biggest communication infrastructure challenge you have encountered while deploying smart city solutions at scale?
So to be honest, in the cities, in the large cities, the biggest challenge is to lay down the network, particularly when it comes to fiber network.
Okay.
To lay down the fiber network, first lot of administrative problems comes. Lot of permissions are required. Need to deal with a lot of issues like public inconvenience नहीं होना चाहिए, traffic नहीं होना चाहिए, aesthetic of the roads, or then somewhere the digging is the problem. Service lines are not allowed in the smart cities by law, even though you will see a lot of cables are of the private operator are lying on the poles, but those are illegal things. Okay, these are the on ground challenges. Then the challenges which is coming up nowadays is because the air medium is getting filled with lot of radio radiations, a lot of the radio signals of licensed signals, unlicensed signals. Like I said, the LoRa is also unlicensed signals. It creates unlicensed network. And unfortunately, these networks are not visible by eyes, so you need to encounter with lot of, you know, mm, interferences in the network. So those are the technological challenges.
Okay. So what there is one question on IoT. So this participant want to know that which microcontroller is best for IoT projects in your opinion? Which microcontroller is best for IoT projects in your opinion?
ESP32 with Wi-Fi, embedded Wi-Fi and Bluetooth.
Uh, so there is further to that, there is one more question that says most IoT devices run on limited battery. How critical is power consumption in deciding the performance and real world success? Since IoT is they require less batteries, so
Oh,
how
okay.
critical it
So
is?
correct. So the entire innovators and manufacturers of microcontrollers are working on these challenges, and the ESP32 is the first solution to this challenge. ESP32 really works on the low energy. Its consumption is very small, and LoRa with the ESP32 is the answer for this energy consumption. So it's consume very low energy. So even a LiPo battery of 5 volt, 1000 or 2000 mAh is enough to keep your sensor along with the MCU on for a years also. And that is what I said in my slide when choosing the component for your project. So I suggest all the students or whosoever is there to go through the data sheet of each and every component you are purchasing or you are thinking of implementing for your IoT architecture. So it is very important to go through the data sheets.
Okay, okay. So
Just
since
don't just
we're
don't just don't select the uh, uh, product, or don't select the IoT devices by seeing on, because nowadays I know everything is available on ChatGPT and Google. So people just Google the things, how to do this, how to do that, and they just go through the various projects which is already executed and available on the site, and they just blindly follow and blindly integrate the things and uh, prototype it, and after that they get into these type of problems. So please go through the data sheet carefully and then choose your IoT devices.
So I think that is a very important takeaway for all the participants. Sir, just I wanted to know that since the topic is on smart city, on smart cities and communication infrastructure. So how does communication infrastructure directly impact the quality of life of citizens in smart cities? This communication infrastructure, they have direct impact on the citizens in smart cities.
Yeah, they have direct impact on direct and indirect, both the impact on the citizens of the smart cities. Like if
So,
I, mm, sorry, yeah, please.
so sir, so there are multiple smart city projects which are going around. I mean, if you talk about our city also, I mean, there are multiple smart city projects which are going around. So can you highlight if there are any biggest challenges so that which companies might face to ensure that there should be a last mile connectivity. So the question is, what are some of the biggest challenges in ensuring last mile connectivity in smart city projects? So this is a question from one of the participants and it was sent to me directly. So just wanted to ask here.
Like, could you please repeat it again because your voice was.
Okay, hopefully I'm audible,
Okay.
sir. So the
Yeah.
question is, what is some of the biggest challenges in ensuring last mile connectivity in smart city projects?
See, the biggest and primary challenge is to deploy the IoT devices in the blind spots or in the remote areas where there are challenges of the power, there are challenges of the network. Okay. If you ask me in the technical point of view, so that is how the solutions like LoRa and the RF transceiver solutions has come up to address these challenges.
Okay.
And another challenges, as I already told, the laying of the wired networks.
Okay, sir. Sir, thank you so much. And there is one more question which I have
And
directly received.
one more challenge which the companies are facing. Companies are intend to provide or intend to give the services, the innovations. But the thing is that still we in our country we are talking about the smart cities, smart city deployments. But जिस तरह से response authorities or institutions or particularly the institution which are responsible for public services, the response is not that much encouraging or enthusiastic from their end to deploy these services at the fast paces. And the cities are so congested and dense. So the challenges are start from the basics, as I said, the laying out the infrastructure. But still, we are maybe we are moving slowly, but still we are moving. You can see the deployment are now visible in the various parts of the cities, whether it is environmental deployment, wherein now and the various part of the cities, the air quality index is getting displayed, and the various squares and signal, big large signals. In particularly in summer, you maybe witness that this air water sprinkler has been installed to purge the pollution. Then in some of the places now AI based cameras are getting installed for security as well as for capturing the traffic violations.
Okay. Sir, there is one more question which I personally also have.
Yeah.
So we are talking about a lot of IoT devices. We are talking about smart cities. We are talking about infrastructure. So how can telecom industry they contribute? I mean, how do telecom and IoT system work together to make cities smarter and more efficient? So my
See,
question to you, I'll repeat again. How can telecom and IoT system work together to make cities smarter and more efficient?
See, telecom companies have their business of giving you the network, and fortunately, in the current days, telecom companies' network is widely available, and they are covering a large area, almost all the areas of the cities, including the remote areas. So they are doing their stuff of giving with the network in the various parts and corners and up to the last mile. So the smart city is something, you see, smart city, when we're talking about a smart city, there are two parts of it. One part of which your aesthetical changes, which you are is visible to you. Your roads, footpaths, smart poles, decorative lighting poles. So जो आप वो देख ही रहे हो. ठीक है. When it comes to making cities smart in and impacting the day-to-day life of the people, so it involves a lot of things. I mean, creating uh, various applications through which you can simplify the life. Then acquiring the data acquisition of various aspects like water, electricity, or WTP plants, analyzing it, saving the energy, saving the water. It also indirectly impacts because see, try to understand how we our social environment and our economic environment is connected and form in our country because we are only the creature. Everything happens from our penny, from our pocket.
That's
So
absolutely true, sir.
So
Yes.
it's important to look the smart city in this particular aspect. As I said in my last slide, the, the four empathy, ideation, prototyping, and testing. So it is very important to understand the empathy of the people, what people need out of the smart city. Ideation, what are their ideas. Then those needs to be prototype and this need to be tested and implemented. So these four things put together will make your city smarter. So only installing a smart light or decorative light on the pole, creating big decorative footpath or sitting arrangements, and that will not make your city smarter.
That's true, sir. And what you're mentioning right now are the steps of design thinking, which definitely starts with the empathy and leads to development of the product, which will be or development of a city, which actually people want to live in. So, just wanted to know, I mean, from my side only, that what role does private companies can play here? I mean, do private companies and public authorities they can collaborate together and form a smart city, or they can basically continue to work together and form a smart city infrastructure? So, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, that is how the things are going. See, the government authorities or any government entities, it will be public entities, for example, municipal corporations may to be specific. See, they don't have anything in-house to develop. Yeah, it's a private companies. Those are innovating. Those are coming out with the innovative ideas, innovative concepts, and prototyping it, testing it, and then implementing it. Just to mention you, we are my company is we are working on the project of WTP plants. So how to integrate all the WTP plants together and how to monitor and manage the water supply right from the reservoir, which is located around 50, 20, 25, 50 kilometers away from the cities, just to ensure how much the water the city is required. Also, we suggested to do the micro management on the water consumption of particularly large uh, complexes, large societies, large buildings. And how can we, how can we save the water? Because the drinking water crisis, even though we see the lot of rains is coming nowadays, but still, end of the day, in summer and we start facing the water crisis.
That's true, sir.
And in
I mean,
nature
this
point of
that's a
view,
huge.
also we whatever water available on the earth, the drinking water is just 1.5 to 2%.
That's true.
So we are working on that project, how to automate the entire thing.
Sir, since we are talking about smart cities, I think we should. I also wanted to know your opinion on the smaller cities. I mean, there are multiple smaller cities who have limited budgets, right? And what we are
Yeah.
talking about are huge projects for larger cities such as metro cities and all. So how can smaller cities they can adopt to the idea of smart communication solutions in limited budgets? I mean, what are your thoughts on that? How should can they do that?
See, maybe tomorrow it can be possible, but today see the smart city, the target of implementing all those innovations, why it is concentrate on the bigger cities, the life is so fast. People need a means of convenience in terms of transport, and there are the challenges in front of the authorities also, how to manage the traffic, how to. So we have a basic challenges. We have challenges in the basic things as of now. Okay. So those challenges, fortunately, is not there today in the small cities. They don't have a big challenges of managing the traffic and the peak hours, or managing huge amount of water supply, huge amount of waste management, huge amount of. So see, currently we are dealing with these basic things only. ये सारी जो बेसिक फैसिलिटीज है, वी आर डीलिंग विद द बेसिक फैसिलिटीज, हाउ टू सॉल्व द प्रॉब्लम्स थ्रू द स्मार्ट एप्लीकेशंस.
सही बात है सर. सर इसी इसी में आगे एक और जानना था कि हाउ कैन द कम्युनिकेशन इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर हेल्प इन मेकिंग द सिटीज मोर सस्टेनेबल एंड इको फ्रेंडली बिकॉज वी आर टॉकिंग अ लॉट ऑफ डेवलपमेंट वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट मेकिंग द सिटी स्मार्टर वी आर talking about installation of devices. Now I think this is something which which I mean all the cities are basically considering. So according to you, how can this help uh, in making the cities more eco-friendly and more sustainable?
Yeah, I mean to say, because I think the answer is there in your question only. See, the without network cannot do anything. You need to
Yes,
have a network
yes,
to and to see the concept of the smart city is to acquire the data at the central hub point. Okay.
yes,
So if the one corner of the city and other corner of the city is, for example, away from 20 kilometers, okay, if you keep communicating what is happening here on the mobile phone, keep calling somebody, getting the information, then updating information, then you are updating information to the third person is updating the fourth person, and then that is how the information is getting collected. That is the old way of operating. Okay. So
yes, sir.
it wastes the huge amount of time, okay, and maybe at many a times you may not be able to take corrective measures in the real time to avoid something or to do something. So,
Yes,
so the basic concept of the smart city is to acquire the data from all the corners and all the everywhere from the city to the central point, so that data can be analyzed in the real time, data can be processed in the real time, the meaningful information can be gathered in the real time with a no time delay, with no latency, and immediately the actions can be taken.
that's true, sir. Sir, do you think this? So this is one of the participants have asked that. Do you think that India's Digital India initiative is enough to support communication needs of upcoming smart cities?
Yeah, I think the 5G networks are more than enough,
5G
because
networks. Yes,
nowadays we are enjoying everything, right from your video streaming, video calls, what we are doing today without any interruption, without any problem.
yes.
See,
So
6G is getting invented for the different purpose. 6G and wireless, the innovators are now trying to, increase the data capacity, particularly. How can the maximum bulk data can be transferred wirelessly? 5G, there is a limitation of imposing the data. You cannot modulate the data. You cannot send a very large packets of data, which is possible through wireline. Because today we are using both the networks. The Wi-Fi connections in your houses and your building offices are still wired. Okay.
That's true, sir.
They are not at wired. So we are not completely wireless. We are still dependent on the wire and fiber for the huge amount of data, or the particularly backhaul data.
So thank you so much, sir, for patiently answering all the questions. And I think I'll pass on the dais to my coordinator, Kopa. Over to you.
One more suggestions to all the beginners. Keep imagining, keep prototyping.
That's an important one, sir.
Yeah, this is the only thing where you will impact and you will create something which may be very useful.
Thank you so much for that key takeaway, sir. And we really are glad to have you today with us for your session on smart city communication infrastructure. So we
Thank you so
appreciate the
much.
perspectives that you have shared and the time that you took to be with us today. And your inputs have added to our understanding of the subject, and we are really grateful for your contribution. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you.
Moving on with our session number 10, we are truly honored to welcome Mr. Sangram Kadam, Senior Vice President and Business Leader, Strategic Initiatives and Key Accounts at KPIT. Mr. Kadam is a seasoned P&L leader with deep expertise across ER&D, mobility digital cloud, and enterprise applications. Over the years, he has successfully driven business growth in diverse markets and has been at the forefront of leading digital transformation journeys, enabling customers to become truly digital enterprises. His leadership footprint spans across India, Japan, Asia Pacific, and the Middle East, giving him a strong global perspective on emerging communication trends. And beyond his corporate leadership, Mr. Kadam has also contributed to the tech community as the chairman of the Computer Society of India, Pune chapter, inspiring many professionals in the field. We're especially grateful to him for joining us today from Shanghai, despite his busy work commitments, and it is indeed a privilege to have him with us today. With such rich experience and global output, we look forward to hearing his insights on how communication technologies are shaping industries and societies worldwide. Sangram sir, the floor is all yours.
Well, Gopa ma'am, am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
And my screen is also visible, right?
Absolutely, sir.
Thank you so much. First of all, thank you so much for inviting me. It's a bit late for me, so please pardon me if in between you saw some answers from me. But I think the place where I am and the topic what has been allocated to me, absolutely very, very relevant. And last few days, I surely wanted to share some of my practical experiences as well in relation to this topic. So what I will try to do, maybe I will cover a few trends since KPIT, the organization which I represent, does a lot of work on overall automotive industry. I will also try to connect how these trends are shaping the automotive industry and some of the practical examples, what we are trying to do with some of the new age startups in this area. And there will be a small focus on the quantum communication because this is again a new trend, what I saw actually here in China last 1 week. And when I try to do some research, I also found out that as a India, we are also not far behind. Of course, we have still miles to go, but I will try to touch base on that. And at the end of the session, I think we can have a few questions. Naturally, I was told by the organizing committee also to set up some MCQs as well, and I will run through a few of the MCQs as well. Uh, where I think the last session left, and I think the speaker was mentioning about the data size trends, and I think it's a natural progression we are getting into where he left. So from where he left, let me get into the next. I don't know why it is not. Yeah. Okay. So I think let me start with, and maybe all of us now have become so smart enough, and we say we are losing our. The phones are becoming more smarter, but the human beings are becoming uh, less smarter, or we said we are losing our common sense to the smartphones. But if you really look into the evolution of the overall communication technology, I think the old days when the pigeon used to transfer the messages, and if you see some of the old word wars or even the Indian mythology, I think a lot has been written about the communication, the way Sanjay used to predict, because people are still saying that he has some foresight which he is to predict and he is to give that. So from that world where we are today, I think as a human, we have made a lot of progress. So whether it is wired communication, and earlier speaker spoke about still some of us still using the wired communication or the fibers to get the internet, to the wireless revolution. Last week in Germany, there was a conference called as IAA, which is a automotive driven, and some of the new innovations were launched, like the wireless charger. So you have to just take your car just close to the grid, and it will start getting charged the way the mobiles are getting charged. So I think we are moving slowly to the wireless revolution, and I think all of us have seen what it has meant. Digital age we are living into, and now without smartphones, I know most of you are on a non-video mode. So it's very, very difficult for a human to even stay away from mobile. And there was a research that if 30 minutes we are not able to see our mobile, I think we start feeling restless. And that's across. So whether a kid of 15 years to senior people like all of us, I think we are so dependent on phones that without phones, life is becoming impossible. So now it is not necessary. I think it has become kind of a hygiene factor. So whether it is smartphone, social media, and high-speed internet, they are actually our integral parts of our lives, and that is where the communication overall technology is changing. Now, I think thanks to the mobile communication, because of again innovation of the smartphones, and if you recollect again, the when Reliance introduced in India, and they came up with the advertisement like "Dunia kar lo mutti mein," nobody would have imagined that somebody who sells vegetables on the street can use digital payment system as effectively as most of us. That is where I think the world has moved. We have already seen an impact. 5G is already live in some part of the Pune, some part of the other cities in India. Where I am today in Shanghai, I can use 6G actually. Again, it is in a test phase, but they are already testing 6G. In fact, when we met, China is already testing 8G for their defense. So I think the world is slowly changing, and we are seeing there will be more and more innovation as some of the global companies start. And naturally, it led to what we called it as a connected world. Uh, all of us are aware about IoT. Now we call as Internet of Everything. Actually, things are past. So IoE, which is we can connect everything to anything to everything. And naturally, this IoT or IoE is helping us to communicate and exchange data with each other. So some of the applications he spoke about, smart cities. Uh, Next level is the smart homes, wearable devices, and some of the examples I think as we progress we'll say. So these are all nothing but actually the revolution or evolution of the overall communication technology. So whether the areas such as healthcare, transportation, agriculture, defense, I think you name it, and I think almost all in education. Take example, all of us are doing session, which again thanks to the innovation in communication technology. COVID is a classic example. I think most of the business could survive because we had a Teams, we had a Zoom, we had a lot of these innovation which happened the way we were able to communicate. So I think the world is changing, and I don't foresee any industry which is not getting impacted with the evolution. It is not only the telecom industry. I think telecom industry is now the, I will say the enablement, but the overall the industry, irrespective of the industry where you are into, I think it is going to impact with the communication. So overall, I think with this background, let me straight away get into some of the areas where I feel are the shaping the overall communication technology industry. And these are some of the trends based on but I have seen in last few years, and of course, this really cemented when I came here last week. And of course, my objective was different. But since considering this topic, when I was talking, I was trying to understand from most of these people here as well. And when I was meeting the academia, we met some of the leading automotive companies here. We also met some of the universities, and we found out that, of course, whatever I'm going to talk has already impacted in some way in this part of the world. And I think globally it is already being discussed. So the trend one, I think none of the discussions are now getting over without AI. Uh, Whether we as a part of this session, day-to-day life, the industry which I represent, which is IT, I think you name the industry, and I think there has been constant innovation on the AI. And again, specific to our topic, if you see, there has been lot of innovation when it comes to the automating communication, or how you can become more hyper personalized. There is a term called as hyper personalization. So earlier it was like what me as an individual, but I think it is going to the next level. What are my tastes, what are my hobbies, what are the way I am behaving. I think the way communication will be, and there are certain examples I will see. A lot of AI tools have come up. These tools are helping us the way you wanted to really create content. And I think last 2 3 weeks all of us have seen the Gemini Sari activity was kind of a craze. I could see most of my friends, family members, they were using. And later, when we really realized what are the really, I will say, not so great things about it, I think all of us suddenly looked at the some of the nuisances it is creating. So a lot of those things AI is going to enable the way we'll communicate. Naturally, it will help us to build a lot of stronger connection because most of the devices are also getting AI inbuilt. The new way is agentic AI. I think the agents are going to be a future. And I think particularly for a communication industry, we are seeing a lot of these agents are coming up. All of us are aware about Alexas of the world, Series of the world. These are nothing but the agents which were initially innovated by Amazons of the world and Google. Now, I think these agents started talking on behalf of the brand. So even the way the industry is going to change, these agents will change the overall industry. They are slowly getting embedded into the enterprise technology. So whether you are a big organization or a small individual, I think this agentic AI will play a different role. Naturally, it will create a lot of issues on the way AI is being used, whether it is ethical, non-ethical. You are seeing the challenges which deepsake or the deepfake is actually creating. So naturally, we are seeing a lot of platforms, and the governance will be also imposed by the lot of regulatory bodies and the governments when it comes to the overall AI driven communication. Uh, some of the studies have seen uh, most of the organization, close to 95% of the organization will adopt AI for different communication workflows. And the research by McKinsey, research by IIG, they are predicting by 2025. So this is the year I think we will start seeing the real impact. So at a broader level, I think more and more personalization, and if you see WhatsApp when first time, or if you send any message to a new contact, it always calls that is the encrypted message. I think this is where the world is moving. A lot of automation will happen. You can schedule your messages, you can schedule your meeting, you can schedule your communication. So we are seeing, I think the AI is going to impact in a big way, irrespective of the level, irrespective of the industry, irrespective of the kind of work you are doing. So that's the first trend we are seeing. And there is a slide which will give some of the examples, which are the companies they are trying to do, which are the tools which we can use in day-to-day life. So this was the first trend. I think if it is not able to go second slide. Yeah, and I think earlier speakers spoke about the 5G. Uh, the second biggest trend we are seeing that, as I mentioned, India has already started a 5G country. We were one of the country which has adopted really fast the 5G expansion in most of the areas of the country. But we are also seeing slowly, at least defense has started testing some 6G technology. As I mentioned, China is already talking about 8G. France and some of the countries in Europe, they're already talking. Now, I think most of our country will transit to 5G by this year. At least the telecom operator, they will naturally 5G will become more and more mature, and it will help us as an industry to move towards 6G. A lot of research is happening on 6G. A lot of applications. I think more and more connected, more and more IoT. Because as you know, earlier if you see when you used to download any file, it will just keep downloading and we had a patience. Nowadays, I think we wanted to click and even bigger files, or if you are watching movies on OTT, any channel, I think the human being is losing the patience. Again, thanks to the technology 6G, where the latencies are getting reduced. These are like ultra milliseconds of the kind of latencies. A lot of autonomous systems are getting devised. If you heard about Tesla, then Google has a company called as Waymo, where they have launched fully autonomous vehicles. And I'm proud that as an organization, we do a lot of work on this particular area, what people used to call level 4 autonomous, where these are the driverless autonomous systems. Some of the countries have already launched the autonomous battle tanks. So really, there will be hardly any loss of human being because the tanks on their own can go and take part in battles. Uh, I'm sure Operation Sindoor, if you are read in detail, the technology and the communication technology has played really a great role. Uh, how the way we have achieved the precision because we really use the satellites. So I think a lot of this is possible because whatever advancements are happening in connectivity, particularly the way we are doing. And naturally, because of this, the gap, at least in a digital age, physical age, we will still keep, there will be a huge gap, but at least in a digital age, we are trying to close the divides between the societies. Uh, every year, we are adding more than billion connections. Uh, and again, these are the global numbers. The earlier speaker spoke about the smart cities. I think the more and more we do research, the more and more smart cities will become active. A lot of different types of the initiatives will be taken for that. Naturally, some of the countries are still struggling on the infrastructure upgrades. But most of the countries, whether it is developing countries or whether it is developed countries, I'm still not sure what we should call India because we are already number 4 economy, and we will soon be in a developed country. But I think if you consider we as a developed country, I think a lot of upgrades you can see. And I think our digital payment infrastructure is a classic example. World is actually looking at taking lessons how India has achieved that. Even China, they did not have that kind of penetration what we have, though they have made so much progress. Or some of the advanced countries like France or US or even Germany, you see, they are not make. But overall basic infrastructure, I think, is still a challenge for us. The biggest challenge India is currently facing is in the spectrum allocation. Uh, and a lot of investment is happening because if we really wanted to adopt the 6G, this is where we will do. So overall, a lot of advancements are happening in the connectivity. As I mentioned, the world has already starting experimenting 6G, 7G, and 8G. 7G only China is talking. I think most of the world straight away wanted to move from 6G to 8G. A lot of defense and other areas are already trying to do some POCs and the pilots on this. But overall, as a country, I think we are making good progress. Naturally, more and more connects we make, more and more innovation happens. It creates its own problems. Uh, the world is have started talking about cybersecurity, and I think the cybersecurity is more paramount today than any other time because more and more connections, more and more dependency. Naturally, the topic which I'm going to deep dive, which is on the quantum, that is again creating a lot of different threats. So, how we can really secure the communication? More and more AI is getting involved. Again, AI can be used. How we can detect the risk in the communication. AI can also be used. How we can compliance with the lot of regulations and the compliances which different governments are putting. As you are aware, Europe has very, very stringent data privacy rules, what they call that GDPR framework. The Indian government has launched Disha as our own data protection rules. So naturally, we have to also make sure how these overall communication technologies are helping us to make sure securely we are complying as well as we are within that regulatory. A lot of new technologies are coming, like blockchain can be a classic example where we really can safeguard the interest. Uh, can we integrate into our data privacies? Can you integrate the technology into whatever we are using daily? So slowly, I think things are moving there. As an industry, we are struggling to get the really expert skills on the cybersecurity. As you can see, the wars will no more fought physically. I think the most of the wars will be now fought digitally, or cyber security is going to be a key. So not only from the sovereignty perspective of the country, not only from the business priority of the enterprise, I think overall cyber security is becoming really critical. And you can see, if you have seen some of the example, remotely sitting people can actually stop the production of any plant. GE experimented that, where GE's General Electric's the automatic battery plant was actually remotely shut by the cyber attackers. I think that is where the industry is moving. So naturally, this is again possible because everything is connected. More and more communication protocols are getting used. So we are seeing this is going to be one skill. And since all of you are from the STEM part of the education industry, I will strongly recommend these are the skills which will be on demand. Some of the countries like Israel, why they are well known, because they are doing a lot of research, which are the core research on this particular area. There will be a lot of regulatory push will come into picture, because not only the governments, the industries, the individuals, and of course the overall uh, the global level, whether it is UN, are coming up with certain norms. There are already some security and data protection protocols already launched. Some of the uh, compliance frameworks like ISOs are already in place, even for the communication protocols, even for the security and data privacy, which will be again on the. So this is again the one big trend we will are seeing, that there will be more and more focus on enhanced security, and of course on the privacy measures as well. And as I mentioned, those privacy measures will be for individual, for industry, or a individual company, or at a company level, or at a country level as well, and of course as a global level as well. And naturally some of the countries like China, Russia are well known for the nuisance what they have created during actual physical wars as well. With this, the next trend which I'm seeing, where the again communication technologies will is on the spatial computing as well as AR VR. Now, the AR VR is defining how we interact. I think last couple of years, if you see, metaverse was the big trend. Everybody wanted to really experience how we can do the unified communication, how we can use the VR for collaboration or the training. Like sitting here now, we are doing simple Teams session, but we could have, if you could have created our own metaverse, we could have physically seen actually each other, and this could have been more like we are sitting in a classroom and exchanging our. So I think that is where the world is moving. Uh, Cloud has really changed the way the overall world is moving, predominantly on the communication side, because really we wanted to scale. Cloud is the solution. Edge computing is becoming, or the cloud computing is becoming a reality. And the industry where I'm coming from, automotive industry, because though KPIT is a technology company, but we focus more on, and I have a couple of examples how vehicles and their overall experience is changing because of the changes in the cloud. And actually, we are seeing a lot of again demand on the AR and VR. And you have seen like yourselves can, whether you wanted to go for a shopping, and yourselves can try with AR and VR actually, whether that dress fits you, that purse suits you. Even you wanted to buy something nowadays, Amazon as well as most of the shopping sites give you that experience that you can actually try 360-degree. I think this is where the world is moving. And now this is possible because again the innovation which is happening in the overall communication framework. Uh, Robots are coming, whether it is humanoid, holographic meetings are happening. Again, these are nothing but the way the overall communication technology is evolving. So I think we will have more and more, I will say, innovation happening on the immersive and special technologies as well. And this will help us uh, some of the areas which we have not even explored, like the agriculture is one area. The government of India is spending so much, how they can give, if farmer sitting in his home, if he can able to predict, okay, take example, today there has been heavy rain and the crop which I am going to take, what impact it will have. Can I simulate it well in advance so that I plan? I think that is where currently the research is happening. The seeds which I am growing, what kind of yield I am going to. Now, this is all possible because we are also using IoT, we are also using air. I think that is where the world is moving. And it is not only the people who are sitting in the room like you and me, but actually the last strata of the society, how it can get uh, this is again most abused word today talk. I think everybody talks about sustainability. Uh, but naturally, whatever innovation is happening, irrespective of the industry, people have started how sustainability can be brought, whatever we are doing. So naturally, the communication will also not be. So how we can use the green power, how energy efficient networks can be established. Now there is green communication is a new trend. And I think everybody is defining their own green communication. So how we can use the minimum power. The green data centers is a new concept. How we can use the renewable power to run the communication protocols, communication technology. The cloud is running. So I think more and more sustainability is getting into even the communication as well. Naturally, we wanted also the innovation to be more responsive and responsible than uh, maybe a disruptive. A lot of investment is happening on the eco-friendly infrastructure. I don't know if you last week followed the news. Oracle and OpenAI, which is one of the leading AI company, announced $300 billion investment. Most of the investment is going to happen on the green initiative. They wanted to green data centers. They wanted green AI as well. Green coding is already a norm. So when I say green coding, how I can develop my code with a minimum number of lines so that I use minimum compute power. Also, I don't need many reworks so that I don't need additional power. That is where the world is moving. How I can do the coding with low code, or even there is a concept called as a no code now. These are all nothing but how I can use the minimum communication infrastructure. So whether it is cloud infrastructure, whether it is coding infrastructure, whether it is uh, the communication. So I think this is where the world is moving. Naturally, everybody is looking how I can reduce the carbon footprints in each part of our life. The organization are have started reporting their carbon footprints, even for the data center, the devices, including the laptops and the servers, and day to day, whatever they are using. So whether I'm using the point-to-point internet connectivity, because I'm being a global company, when I'm connected with my customers across the globe, how bare minimal I can use. I think this is where the world is moving. A lot of and as organization becoming more and more sustainable, a lot of responsibility is being placed. If you see now, most of the companies are actually publishing their ESG reports. In the ESG reports, they have to also call out what is that they are doing on the overall communication infrastructure, how much power they are saving, how much energy they are saving. I think this is where world, and I think UN is making it mandatory for right now. It is voluntary for all listed companies anywhere in the world to come up with their own ESG reports along with their financial reports. Naturally, the communication overall infrastructure forms the major investment in the overall ESG. So this is where I think the world is moving. Again, big trend. Unfortunately, the country where I am is not really worried about what's happening to sustainable, and but some of the countries like India, US, Germany, I think they are talking a lot because we know our resources are limited and how all of us can really take care of it. So that is the trend number 5. Of course, there are multiple trends which are happening, but I thought I will just pick up few trends which will at least set tone to our topic. Uh, some of the other trends which I called out, which I found are again very, very relevant from what's happening across the globe. Uh, Again, satellite connectivity is a bigger even companies like Starlink, companies, Indian companies also, if you see like Airtel are launching OneWeb. So even in the remotest area, you will get the connectivity through the satellite. Already we have made revolution uh, in this area. How we really can take it to the next level. Just imagine if you are holidaying in a desert and you really wanted to do a meeting, that's very much possible. Or you are in jungle enjoying the safari. where no connectivity is there. I think with satellite, we'll still come as close to the world, like we are sitting in the next room. Uh, the world has started talking about digital first, cloud first. Again, it will shape up the overall communication industry. The biggest trend we are seeing, a lot of geopolitical shifts are happening, and it will also have a big impact. Every day, uh, Mr. Trump comes and he announces some new, uh, I'll say, tariffs or some of his new policies. We also have struggle with the country where I am. I think so. There is a lot of geopolitical shifts are happening. Ukraine and Russia are talking everyday wars. If you see, every there are drones are nothing but one of the ways of again communication. So we are seeing this will again impact a lot. At least from a regulatory framework perspective, the geopolitical shifts will have a major impact. Cloud and edge computing will define the way the overall infrastructure is getting developed. And last but not the least, I feel quantum communication is going to shape the overall communication technologies, and I'm going to spend some time on the specific on the quantum communication. Now, overall, if you see from a trend perspective, whether we are in 25 or in coming few years, I think AI is going to be the central ethos of the oral communication. Whatever you do, whatever the oral industry try to achieve, I think AI is going to be the heart of it. Naturally, coupled with it, how it can become more secure, more immersive, and more sustainable is going to focus. I think these are the four key trends is what the oral communication technology is going to be shaped. Naturally, the industries and the governments will adopt and become more and more competitive, because if they try to keep investing in AI, they try to keep upskilling in the emerging technologies, and of course, underlying is communication technology as well, and how along with ethics they can balance it. So I think the action all of us need to take is, of course, we need to keep aware of what's happening, how we can collaborate more, how we can innovate more, and of course, how we can create some of the bright minds. You are doing very noble work. How it can we can take it to the next level, because this is where I foresee the world is going to move. This is where, and this is not that somebody sitting in a big college in a big city will only do. I think some of the innovation in these areas are happening from the areas where we could not have even imagined. Uh, and we could see one of the biggest difference between our country and here is, I think here there is a great ecosystem. The industry and the academia work very, very closely. The government is equal partner. So many incentives are given. And that's where it's very much possible to do and do the investments which are needed to come up with this some of the radical and disruptive innovation. This one slide will give a snapshot what really is happening with these trends. And if you see like AI personalization was a, which I called out, all of us are pretty aware about ChatGPT, right? Uh, ChatGPT or now OpenAI or a Grok by X. I think these are some of the companies they are creating a different world when it comes to the way we are going to communicate. Uh, 5G and 6G networks. China, as I mentioned, is already taken the lead. Some of the companies like Nokia and Ericsson already announced their plans to roll out the infrastructure for 6G. Today, there are around 5 billion connections across the globe. There is estimate that next 3 years, additional 3 billion connections will happen. So just imagine around 8 billion connections and kind of the data will be exchanged between the networks. Uh, the Google of the world, AWS of the world, more and more cloud is there. So I think everything, how we can become communication as a service is going to be a new trend. This will help us to scale to the different level. The smart cities can become reality. Smart villages can become a reality. Companies like Starlinks, they are actually investing to make sure there is a communication through satellite. National trillion and more, as I mentioned, security checks will be taken. Quantum will become the reality. If you see, most of these companies are announcing their plans more and more. So immersive, I think one classic example, though India has banned now TikTok, but TikTok is born in China, and there is a company called as ByteDance, and you will be surprised. ByteDance is one of the largest cloud service provider as well in China. Because when they thought that TikTok may get banned by America, and you see the buyers which has come for TikTok, because what does TikTok? Does TikTok use actually a immersive digital experience to you, short videos. They it can help you to create your own metaverse. I think these are the trends are happening, and I already spoke about regulate. So this I think this one slide will give you where the overall communication technologies are moving across the globe. And these are not specific to country, but almost everything is applicable to we as a country in India as well. With these, let me spend some time and give you an idea about how these communication technologies are overall impacting the overall vehicle industry. And we have our own business unit called as Connected Vehicle, and you can see with some of the examples how this is impacting the overall industry, how it will impact the way we move from one place to other place, how it is impacting the overall automotive industry as well. And China and Germany has really taken lead when it comes to this particular area. Uh, I think you may have heard or seen this slide. What it is called as V2X is vehicle to anything. And these are some of the examples. You have heard about autonomous vehicles. You heard about automatic or wireless charging cars. You may have heard if autonomous vehicles has to run, they will start communicating with your own mobile. If I'm crossing a road and if there is an autonomous car coming up, it will automatically detect mobile in my pocket and start communicating with me. Or it will start communicating what we call vehicle to vehicle. Take example, suppose autonomous vehicle is traveling from Pune to Mumbai, and on the road it got broken, it can automatically communicate with the next car which is coming behind, or car which is ahead, and ask for support. I think the world is moving slowly because all of us are aware about vehicle to cloud, because there is a concept called as OTA, which is over the air update. Nowadays you really don't have to go to the service center to get updates in your car, because cars are becoming more and more software driven, what it is called as SDV, software driven vehicle. So each car has like millions of lines of codes is getting into car. Cars are becoming more and more software than the mechanical part. So naturally, as more and more software and electronics get inbuilt, this gives an opportunity for us to communicate. So each part can actually start communicating with the car. You must have seen the advertisement when MG launched in India. You can remotely lock the car, or you can give command and car can automatically start, or you wanted to switch on your AC. I think these are nothing but the examples of how you can connect. And again, the underlying is the communication technology. And these are very small example. But if you see companies like Teslas of the world, company like Wemos of the world, they are fully utilizing the communication technologies. We are doing as an organization a lot of work on this particular. So tomorrow, you really don't have to apply the brakes, because car can automatically communicate with the traffic signal, and traffic signal if is red, it will through wireless or through Bluetooth technology, it will understand, it will automatically apply the brake. I think world is going there. And naturally, mobile app is a very, very basic example where you can have your own mobile app, you can connect through Bluetooth. All those are nothing but innovations what are happening on the overall communication. Now, this stack will give an idea. It is not so easy, right? It is not only at hardware level, or it is not only at a software level. If you see what we call it chip to cloud, is where the innovation is happening on the communication side. So companies like Qualcomm and Nvidia, you heard why Nvidia has become the world's most admired company, because they are bringing a lot of innovation on both on AI as well as on the semiconductor. Now, semiconductor is the heart of the overall communication, whether it is device, whether it is server, whether it is chip which goes into the car, or the chip which goes into the laptop or a mobile. So I think hardware is becoming important, but it is not only the hardware. I think the middleware, the software, the application, and the cloud. So when we say, I think the innovation and the disruption in overall communication is technology is happening. I think it is happening across the value chain. And these are some of the partners I have called out who are the prominent leaders who are doing a lot of that innovation. If you have heard Android Auto, I think mobile, all of you have heard about Android mobiles, but there is a new concept called as Android Auto. Google is doing a lot of research, bringing their own platform. Qualcomm is bringing their own platform, what we call is a digital cockpit. So all future cars, if you sit in the car, they will act like a flight cockpit. Whatever you are trying to do in your bedroom on a TV screen, you will able to do in your car. I think this is where the world is moving. Again, this is possible because whatever is innovation is happening on the overall communication technologies. With this, these are some of the examples I have called out. What are the actual applications of this? One is, of course, as I mentioned, on the cockpit. So whether it is digital cockpit, whether it is, as I mentioned, the AI agents like Alexa integration, or whether can I connect multiple devices. A lot of things are happening virtually. Two, how I can do the remote software management. So even if I'm traveling from one city to another city, I can actually upgrade my car. When I say upgrade my car, I can actually update my software in the car. And this is all possible remotely. Only, of course, I need to have connectivity. And naturally, with mobile or now a lot of cars are coming with inbuilt SIMs as well. If you see, a lot of applications are getting integrated. If you have seen the new MG, which launched Windsor in India, it has all apps integrated. So you can give a command to a car, and if you take your car to a charging station, and if it is a paid charging station, there is a Geo app integrated within the car. You can actually pay from your screen because your car app is integrated with mobile, either Google Pay or a Beam app. So you really don't have to. I think the world is moving to, of course, it will cross check, it will securely check whether you are authentic user, it will check cyber security, all that it will do. But this is where I think the world are moving. A lot of things are happening now digitally. Digital twin again is a new concept. So you really don't have to set up anything physically. Everything you can do virtually. You can actually test, simulate it, and then only if you feel happy, okay, this is what will the real world will be, then you apply. So digital twin is becoming again, a lot of automation is happening. What we call a feature over there. So if I wanted to add, say, a feature example, lane cutting. Now these are all features which come along with the car. But in a future, you really don't have to worry about it. You like a menu card, you can select, okay, out of these, I need 1, 2, 3, 4. And after maybe 6 months, I want one more, you can just click add and it will get automatically added. I think, again, it's possible because whatever innovation I mentioned about. Now, with this, if you move to what is happening in cabin, if Mahindra new cars, if you see, they launch a solution called as a DOMS, which is like driver monitoring system. So again, a lot of communication related technology are used. It will monitor continuously the driver. If driver is feeling sleepy or his eye movements are not the way the algorithms are designed, it will start giving you alarms. Beyond certain time, even if the driver is not acting, it will slow down you. And of course, it will not slow down if you are driving at a high speed on a middle lane. Slowly, it will push you to take your vehicle to the lane which is close to the end of the road. All that intelligent is already built now in the car. How this is possible? This is possible because almost everything is connected to the cloud. It will also monitor the occupant like driverless cars. Whether if you keep there is a child which is in the car, as you know, there has been multiple cases in particularly in Western countries where they forgot their child in the car and they did not notice. So the car will actually notify you that yes, Mr. So and so, you missed your child in a car. It will give alarm. So all that is possible with this, whatever is happening with the innovation technology. And these are some of the actual live work we are trying to do. Now, this slide I don't really wanted to give spend any time, but I feel I just wanted to say how the complex the systems are becoming. Now this is only for a vehicle. Just imagine if you have to do something on a defense, how it will be. But this is where, as I mentioned, whether it is hardware, whether it is software, but the things are moving on a digital cockpit or from a vehicle feature, and this is even more complex. Uh, you have to write. I think the microservice. Those of you in technology background will understand. For even each protocol you have to call, you have to write. If you have to give a digital experience, and if you really wanted to monetize that data, you have started using a lot of microservices. You can build actually. Again, the underlying framework is again the innovation which is happening on the data cloud and the communication side. Now, this one slide give you an example. Now, there is a company which we acquired recently. It's a Switzerland-based company called as Air Console. This actually be from a car. You actually can get an immersive experience in the car. You can play Kaun Banega Crorepati in the car the way you are playing or you are actually watching at your home. This is where you can actually get the immersive experience. So if Amitabh Bachchan comes and starts saying, suddenly the car lighting in the car will become blue or a red, the way you wanted to see. If he asks questions and you answer correctly, suddenly the glow in the car will change. So I think this is all possible again because everything is connected to the way you wanted to connect. You can do in offline mode, you can do in online mode, but this is where we are doing with one of the company actually, and they have patents. So platform is called as Air Console. Some of the high-end cars like BMWs of the world, Audis of the world, Porsches of the world, if you see, they already come up with this solution. There is very danger data point in China. People spend 4 to 6 hours in a car playing games. So what they do after office hours, they will park their electric car for charging. 3 or 4 of them will come in a car and they will start playing games. This is where the world is moving now. Just imagine if I really wanted to get an experience the way the gaming experience I will get in a home, similar experience I want to know. It is only possible if there is innovation happening on the competing, there is innovation happening, and these are some of the companies what are trying to do that innovation. Uh, with this, let me come to now deep dive into the topic what we thought we will spend some time is a quantum communication. I think all of us have heard quantum very uh, uh, I will say common word, but if you're ready to get into technical details of it, I think quantum communication is nothing, but they are actually using the quantum mechanics principle. I will not get into details because I think we need a separate session for the overall quantum mechanics. But I think the best part is how the quantum encryption technique can help you, one on the security side, second on the privacy side. I think these are the two important things because this is the way you can actually exchange the very sensitive information. Take example during a war or the stock exchanges or some of the business transactions. This is where I think the quantum communication will play a major role. And naturally, it uses its three principles. So whether it is principle of duality, principle of uncertainty, or the superposition. These are the three basic principles of quantum mechanics which the quantum communication using. But it actually is leveraging, of course, the entailment as well as the superposition. And you, those who are not from the tech background, should only remember the QKD is the mechanism what they are using. So the applications such as QKD, quantum teleportation, and the quantum networks, and slowly you will start because I think the world is slowly moving. China has already tested the quantum communication for a wide range. India also has tested, and I have a video which I will run, which IIT Delhi has already used QKD protocols to check the quantum communication. Uh, those of you are if you are from technology background, you will understand the protocols which are used in communication. Similarly, QKD is also the similar protocol they use. Naturally, the objective is how you can uh, encrypt the data and share the data securely. An example I have given in 2017, actually, China first tested this, and they tested on a range of almost close to 7,000 kilometer plus. Today, you can imagine after 8 years at what levels China must have reached. That's number one. Number two, if you see, when I say quantum entanglement, it is nothing but actually how you can enable the instant state transfer over the distances. Uh, this naturally uses is very important from both teleportation as well as the secure communication. In 2023, the fiber optics actually based communication for almost close to 1,000 plus kilometer was used. The third very important concept in quantum communication is teleportation. It is nothing but actually it transfers quantum states from particles using the earlier entanglement. It is like building blocks. So if you have to really build the quantum network, you need to build each block, and this is what it helps. Naturally, it helps information across the nodes. And the last is how you can build the network of quantum devices. So The way we have routers, we'll have the quantum repeaters, we'll have the quantum satellites. So we have to build actually the quantum communication range. We will have the quantum networks. Both Netherlands and China has done a lot of work on the quantum networks. They have already defined the quantum internet prototypes as well. Uh, the university, the Delft University is already demonstrating, and it's a pre you can search and actually test. Of course, it's only available for academia. They are actually developing a small scale quantum network as well. So overall, these are the four key, I will say, technologies, words, as well as protocols important when it comes to the quantum communication. Now, what is that advantage we will bring if the really world will move to the quantum communication? One is naturally it is the most secure communication protocol. It is almost impossible to break the QKD. So your data will be never lost. Either the opposition party cannot recover it, but it will never lost, or it will never in a wrong hands, unless you have those uh, I will say the QKD is with you, then only it will. So it is the most secure. Second, I think the speeds, the quantum systems are ultra fast. Uh, Multi-million, I don't even know the what measure they are currently going to announce, but that's the second way. And third, of course, it is foolproof from the competing attacks, and even China tried actually to break some of the quantum computers as well. Still, I think quantum has found it as the most future-proof technology. So I think these three will again change the world. Of course, uh, along with advantage, there are challenges as well. Right now, uh, there is a degradation because as long you go more distance because of photon losses in fiber optics, the quantum repeaters are also still not fully developed. I think there is a big distance limitation. So we really cannot use long distance the quantum communication. Secondly, is very, very expensive. So some of the advanced countries can only put the investment for the quantum communication. So infrastructure and cost is a big challenge. Third, uh, we spoke about a lot about the sustainability and the environment earlier. This may a deterrent to that as well. So again, the world is talking and trying to answer how we really can work on these areas as well. Uh, so with this, these are some of the development, and they are as recent as this month, which has happened on the quantum communication. China has launched a program called as Quest, and of course, Europe also has called a program called as Quantum Space Mission. So they are doing a lot of quantums related work in a space as well. They are expanding their satellite-based QKD. They already done the successful test in last year, and they are doing so. Both China and Europe has taken the QKD or the quantum communication to the next level to try over the satellite. As I mentioned, the distance is currently a challenge, but with satellite, I think that can be addressed. Second, there are companies who are actually trying to commercialize the quantum communication. So Toshiba in Japan has already deploying QKD systems for banking. So they really wanted to see how the banking, some of the transactions, particularly the intra-country or inter-organization, can be more secure. So we really don't have to worry about even the single transaction going wrong. Uh, they have this company called as ID Quantic. It's a startup. They already launched a device, actually QKD device as well. They wanted to give access to some of the organization, and they can try. Already the world, Europe is talking about the quantum internet. So the current internet may get replaced. US Department of Energy is already investing a lot to develop this network infrastructure. They are expecting that they will have full-fledged pilots in coming couple of years. Uh, X, which is earlier Twitter, you can see a lot of debate is happening on the quantum networks. Uh, so a lot of these things are currently happening. A lot of But some of the applications which we have called out is naturally the defense is the biggest application we are seeing. The government, again, is the biggest application. Banks, I think, so military is nothing but defense. So overall, cybersecurity wherever is very, very critical. I think quantum will have the biggest application. Second, of course, the information exchange, which is very, very critical and computational information, quantum network will play a role. And third, which is if you really wanted to enhance the quantum, the processing power, I think the quantum computers will come into picture. In fact, China and I saw one demo, the size of your mobile, they have laptops. Uh, and they call is nothing but actually because these most of these chip companies, silicon companies, they have done a lot of research, and I think they are bringing smaller and smaller chips where smaller chips can even power and give the enough power to run not only computers but even the servers. I think this is where the world is moving. The I wanted to run one video. I'll just
DRDO and IIT Delhi have just demonstrated quantum entanglement-based free space secure communication over more than 1 kilometer. It's not just a science experiment, it's the foundation of the quantum internet and the future of cyber warfare. This is Front Page by AIM TV. My name is Sudhi, and we are going to decode this quantum breakthrough. What just happened? In a world first for India, scientists achieved quantum key distribution in free space using entangled photons across a 1.2 kilometer link at IIT Delhi. The result? A secure key rate of 240 bits per second with an error rate under 7%. No wires, no cables, just aligned quantum communication beaming through the air. This was led by Professor Bhaskar Kanseri's lab under a DRDO funded project on photonic tech for free space QKD. And yes, this is real. Usable cryptography, not just theory. So, what does this mean for India? 3 words: cybersecurity, defense, and data sovereignty. Why this is a big deal? Unlike traditional encryption, quantum communication uses the laws of physics. Any attempt to intercept the key disturbs the quantum state, immediately flagging the intrusion. So even if the devices are tampered with, the communication stays secure. This unlocks real-world, battlefield-ready applications. Quantum secure battlefield communications. Tamper-proof telecom links. Satellite-to-ground encryption. And most critically, it eliminates the need for costly fiber networks. Satellite-to-ground encryption, and most critically, it eliminates the need for costly fiber networks. Why does this matter? In future warfare, the side that controls quantum communication, well, wins. Defense Minister Rajnath Singh called it a game changer in secure communication and future warfare. India's quantum journey so far. In 2022, DRDO linked Vindhyachal and Prayagraj over dark optical fiber. In 2024, the same IIT team distributed entangled quantum keys over 100 kilometers of fiber. Now, in 2025, free space entanglement-based communications. All under DRDO's DIA COEs, Centers of Excellence, uniting academia, industry, and defense. This is India building sovereign quantum capability, not depending on anyone else. And you know what? AIM covered this movement extensively in our Quantum Village episode. Check that out if you haven't already. This is such an exciting time that we are living in right now. The global context and why this matters now. Countries like China are already using QKD satellites. The US is building its own quantum networks. If India wants secure infrastructure from finance to military, this tech is non-negotiable. Because by the time quantum computers go mainstream, today's encryption would be pretty much useless. This is quantum resilience built before the storm. The future isn't just AI, it's AI plus quantum plus secure infrastructure. And India is now playing to lead, not to follow. What is the road ahead? India's quantum mission isn't about isolated experiments. It's building blocks for a national grid of secure quantum networks. The future of defense, finance, government communications all will rely on these invisible, invincible particles. Today, it's 1.2 kilometers on IIT's campus. Tomorrow, it could be every city, every border, every satellite. Quantum isn't science fiction anymore. It's national infrastructure. This is Front Page by AIM TV. Like, share and subscribe, and do it very proudly. Because when you think AI, think quantum and think AIM.
Thank you.
Sangram sir, if you allow, we may take question and answers.
Yes, please.
All right. So I would request all the participants to please post their questions in the chat box, and I would request the co-coordinator to please dictate the same to our speaker.
Okay. Sir, we have received one of the first questions, and that is on the video. So, the participant want to know that, sir, after watching this video, one question came to my mind that how will new quantum technology keep India's messages and data completely safe from the hackers?
I think the answer was in video itself. If you see, uh, the presenter also was calling out the kind of innovation what China and America has done. Everybody is actually developing their own quantum networks. India also has to do. And if you see most of the digital areas, we have taken the lead. This area as well. So we need to have our own quantum protocols. We need to have our own quantum networks, and we need to have our own quantum power as well. So this is where we will be different than others. Naturally, right now we are not in the leading space, but the kind of work which is happening, most of the academia, and there are a lot of organizations in India, startups particularly, they are spending their efforts, investments. India and Israel are working closely actually on this particular area as well. So, like currently also we are protecting ourselves from hackers with new innovations. I think we have to do. But the good part about quantum is I think it is most difficult to break or hack. That is the basic inherent principle of quantum mechanics, which will come handy as well. But naturally, China and US has decoded that as well. So yes, I
Okay,
think
sir, I hope I'm able to hope the participant got his answer. So there is one more question that what will be the contribution of quantum you see in environmental aspect?
I think right now it is more on the negative side called out because currently quantum is using a lot of infrastructure. But if you see tomorrow, if it really becomes like the speaker also mentioned, the presenter, mainstream will use the less power or the less energy will be used. So naturally, it will help environment. Second, if you see there will be no wires, no cables. Just imagine how much resources we will save. Number two. Number three. The overall industry impact, if you see, and the examples they have given, uh, if I have to do a cyber warfare, I really don't have to use the kind of uh, assets, the kind of efforts, the kind of, I will say, investments, what I'm doing. Again, indirectly, it will help environment. But right now, I think since it's a very new area, whatever initial research has been done, it is more on the negative side, where the scientists as well as the policymakers are trying to figure out how it can help on the overall environment. But in a longer term, I think it will have a positive impact both on the sustainability as well as on the environment.
Okay. Okay, so that's an interesting take and something a key takeaway for our participants. There is one more question that what is the likely future of Ray-Ban Meta glasses given all the privacy concerns and possibly the misuse of the devices?
See, again, it's a individual choice, right? If you really wanted to open up your data, I think there are people who are ready to absorb that data. And I gave example of yesterday, Gemini. I don't know how many of you read the case. One of our sisters, she came up and she said uh, the Gemini could actually find out she had a mole on her body. When she tried to use the Gemini for her sari avatar, even the Gemini detected that as well. Now, just imagine the kind of havoc it will create. So I think same impact it has. I think each technology has both the side. It has the positive side as well as it has a negative side. And the way we wanted to use for good side, there are people who are absolutely trying to use for the negative side as well. So I think whether it is metaverse by Ray-Ban, and for that matter, almost if you see Lenskart also has launched, how you can use positively. Take example, suppose you use this in factory environment. This can be useful. You can use in a logistics. You can use in healthcare. I think we have to also find out the application which can be really useful and not the other areas. But of course, everybody has its own choice. So I think we need to be very, very careful. And that's where people say, I think a digital or a cloud or a technology is a two-edged sword. The which side you use depends on you.
That's true, sir. Absolutely true. And one of the points you mentioned about the cyber war. So there is one question on that. That, sir, will quantum prevent or trigger tech war between countries?
Absolutely. That's see why countries like China as or the US or the France are investing exactly because I think future, like we mentioned, is going to be not physical war. These are going to be digital war. So quantum is going to be a big technology because one, as I mentioned, so ultra fast that and one of the reason why India during Operation Sindur, if you have seen the report, why none of our whether it is drone or the satellite was detected by our neighbor because we really use the precise communication technology protocol. Now, just imagine if somebody uses quantum, it is next to impossible for us to really detect for whether it is countries like so. Future, I think, is going to be a quantum, and not only the countries. I think even the two companies can also fight. So it will be industry, it will be individuals as well. If I have more quantum power, so right now, this is scary.
I mean, from what you are sharing the experiences, it does look scary. So there is one more question that given the trend of digital first and immersive experience, how do you think our daily interaction with technology will fundamentally change by 2030s beyond just our screens and devices? This actually I'm also keen to know,
So
giving
I
our
think actually now 2030, I think professors or student whoever has asked this question, nowadays every 3 months technology is changing. So it is very, very difficult to even project what will happen. I think none of us were even imagine what AI will bring. And now I'll
yes.
give a couple of practical examples here. As I mentioned, if you search on a company called as Waymo, which is a Google company, they launched the driverless cars. The biggest use case of this driverless car is actually the student movement from school to home. In
Okay.
America, most of the working parents they trust now these cars more than the drivers because cars they will not even have 1% of deviation from the road defined, the time defined. I think that's where the world is moving. So naturally, the world is going to change. One example I will give here in China, we went to one restaurant. They called it as a Reto Mobo. So it is actually the entire restaurant is run by the humanoid, which is human robots. They use a lot of AI. So as soon as I enter, they took scan of my face. They realize I'm Asian. Then in Asian, there was a category Indian. So it recommended, do you need spicy food? Even without I asking.
Mhm.
Now, when we went and sat, they asked Indians love tea. You will not prefer tea.
Okay.
Sorry, we don't have Indian tea. We have a Chinese tea. Do you want? I think this is where the world is moving. So you will get the experience which will be more like personalized. And I spoke right hyper personalization. So with these technologies, I think the world will become more hyper personal. I want for myself. Even if you're a car, take example, you're traveling along with family. Four family members have their own personal space within the car itself. Also, I can play my game. I can listen to my song even though you're traveling together. I think this is where the world will have that personal experience.
The what you're talking about the restaurant, I've only seen those on Instagram reels and a lot of
So
upgraded
it's
technology
all
videos
reality. And
with you
just
visiting.
imagine
Yes,
the
sir.
defense application. Just imagine the logistics application. I think industry is moving very, very rapidly. I'm just giving some very, very basic examples.
Yes, sir. Sir, with this, there is an interesting take on one of the question that with the rise of AI-driven communication tools, how can society balance efficiency with the risk of misinformation, bias, and deep fakes? Because I think these are models which are built on what we are feeding them. So, of
I
course,
think
misinformation is.
absolutely. So one is, of course, we have to build the ethical models, and that's where there is a responsive AI is a new concept which is coming up. In fact, if you see in between, there was a big debate in US going on whether we should really ban AI. But ultimately, the decision was no, we can't because technology has gone so ahead. So I think one, the governments and the industry has to come together and define the regulation framework. Number one. Number two, I think the value system. Now, deepfake. If somebody prepares my deepfake video and puts on internet, I can't do anything. Only I can do is I can penalize that person, but till that time the damage will be done. So I think our value system will be very important. I think this will be part of our curriculum. If you see some of the advanced countries, now AI has become like even fifth standard students, they have basic principles of AI. So it need to become part of our curriculum. The way we are teaching the other subjects, I think this need to be. So overall, I think one is regulations, second is compliance, third is our own value system will play a critical role. And actually, technology will keep evolving. If not today, I am 100% sure there will be something which will help to block even deep tech as well. Something like a blockchain. If you see blockchain, if somebody try to break the chain, you immediately come to notice. Same the quantum. If you see quantum is absolutely not possible to break. I think something will come up, but right now, unfortunately, I don't have answer apart from these three takes where compliance, regulation, and our own value system.
So from what I can understand, and it's a takeaway for our participants who are faculty members also, I mean, this should be an integral part of curriculum. I mean, involvement of
Absolutely.
ethics and values. I mean, we are teaching this as moral science, but they should be a full credited and
Very true.
application-based
Very
subjects
true.
which needs to be included in the curriculum. Okay, so further, there is one more question. Participant has mentioned, sir, I didn't understand the green light. Is green light carrying the data or information from one place to another or something else?
That was a representative because QKD, as I mentioned, it's a wireless from one location to other to just demonstrate the green light was shown.
Okay. I think there is one more question on ethical aspects. So, what are the ethical risks of hyper-connected communication networks, surveillance, privacy invasion, misinformation? I mean,
I think almost you have called out almost all. Take example now, why suddenly there has been increase of the cyber frauds. Uh, Yesterday, if you have read again Indian newspaper, there was a digital arrest of a doctor lady. Uh, she died by suicide because she was digitally arrested. I think, as I mentioned earlier, I think each technology has the two sides. There are areas where we can use really technology for the betterment, but there will be people 20% and 80-20 rule applies here as well. They'll always use for some destructive one. So whether it is surveillance, privacy, as I mentioned, even all of us are take example. I don't know how many of you use Alexa, and I will give example. If you are using an Alexa, please do not use in your bedroom. I can guarantee you Alexa can record even if it is an offline mode some of your conversations because that we are already given access. It is like a loan application. How many of you read the loan application? We don't read. Similarly, if you see the data privacy rules, whenever you go and download any application, it has so many clauses, and all of us by default accept everything. So they have all the rights. Even if tomorrow something from us which is put on the app or the company will never be at a fault. It is we as an individual will be at a fault. So I think the possibilities are enormous. So there is no concept like personal life. Whatever we are today, I think everything is available to the world. It is only the way, and I think you must have experienced all that. You just go to Google, search something, and if you go to Facebook, suddenly you will start seeing all those ads. How does Google knows? Because they have this cognitive, intuitive. A lot of tools have been built which are actually invading your own privacy, and as long as it is limited to areas like shopping and all is okay, but it is, I think, going beyond that. So I think we as an individual need to be what access we need to give, how much we need to be connected, and that is why this digital detox, connected detox is becoming a reality now. And since you are all faculty, I think again, as a part of the overall curriculum, this digital detox is going to be again a big area. There are workshops. I have seen people in industry are running workshops for digital detox because we are always in front of a screen, either on a mobile or on a laptop. Social media is adding into that, and there are people who are getting impacted with this. So I agree with you. I think it will be really difficult with this.
Absolutely true. And with actually is bringing us the importance of digital detox, staying unconnected to stay connected. I mean, there are huge takeaways right now
It's a
from
new
what I
business
can.
actually. If you ask me, this is going to be a big business. And considering again, people will go back to Indian roots where spirituality and all will again play a role. Why the Egatpuri, Maun Vrat, what people call, has become a new mantra. No mobile, even you don't to talk because again, talking is a way of communication, right? I think that's where the world is again going back. So I agree with you. I think.
That is bound to happen. And I think for the students, for us, I mean, most of the faculties, even us as a parents, I mean, this is a huge takeaway there. So there is one more question. Do you believe quantum communication or satellite-based internet like Starlink will redefine global connectivity in next 10, 15 years? I mean,
And I absolutely, I will give a analogy. I think all of us, if you see earlier our experience for a TV, we used to have antennas, right? As soon as the dish TV revolution came, now even if you are in a remote village, if you put a dish, you are able to watch all of our favorite programs. Same way the it will happen for the internet. If you see, Elon Musk has already announced the plans for Starlink for India as well. Airtel is bringing their OneWeb or a World Web, what they call. So, irrespective of the location, now you have access to internet. As soon as you get connected, I think whether you call it a smart village, smart city. Take example, you are sitting in Pune and you have a remote village in 200 kilometers and you have your own agriculture. You can remotely start the water pump because it will be connected through. So I think enormous application. Doctors are already started doing remote surgeries, right? Somebody doctor sitting in North America is doing operation and operating through robots as well. I think so. The areas are enormous. Education is also, I think, big industry which will get impacted with this remote because there are still, I think, 40% of our own country where they don't have access to the good education. I think this may become. So I think yes, you are right. I think we'll redefine the global connectivity.
and of course, there is one more question which I have received in person, that whether it will bridge the gap between urban and rural connectivity. I'm sure education is, I
As I
don't.
mentioned, yes, I think digital divide, naturally digital. I cannot physical whether we'll able to reduce comment, but digital absolutely because that's what I mentioned. Somebody in the rural also is using Bhim and Google Pay as efficiently as all of us
Of
who are
course.
in the bigger cities. So I think digital divide has absolutely reduced. Somebody who is selling the vegetable for 5 rupees is also using Bhim or Google Pay, and we are also using. So I think yes, digital will help us to reduce that gap. Physical, I can't, or social, I can't really comment.
Yes. Sir, there is one interesting question, that which communication technology trend today is overrated and which is underrated, and but which technology which you are mentioning is that underrated is having a massive future potential.
So I think quantum, that's why I call out quantum because right now I think many of us are, if you ask 10 people, I think 8 may not be aware about quantum communications. Quantum is not really talked because it is new, but it will really redefine. I think I feel AI is over abused currently because even in industry also everything starts with AI. But I firmly believe human centered AI because human aspect need to be, otherwise all of us will become machine, right? If everything agent is going to do tomorrow, if I'm not going to talk to my wife and my agent will talk or she will not talk to me, I think we'll lose that, right? So I
Yes.
believe AI is overrated at least at this stage. And earlier we asked question on ethical and responsive. It need to be a bit responsive. It need to be AI. So my answer will be AI is overrated and quantum is underrated at least at this stage.
Underrated. That's an interesting take. And some of the, it seems like some of the participants, they wanted to know that what skills should students and professionals build to stay relevant in communication technology industry by 2035?
So I think, as I mentioned, one is, and I called out, which are the areas which will come into quantum naturally. So physics, basics of physics will become very, very important, particularly for the science student. And as I mentioned, QKD is not again science. So if somebody who understands basic principles, they will understand that as well. Second, cybersecurity is going to be a big, big, big area. So a lot of career opportunities. Even today also, this is one of the highest paid area for the students. We need to. Third, naturally, even though it's overrated AI, if you bring human aspect, I think all of us need to know AI, because if not we, somebody else will do. It will again build the foundation. Naturally, if you go, the basic is a data and cloud. So you also need to know data and cloud. So I'm not saying that straight away jump to quantum, but the basic fundamentals of each and every area you need. Like as I mentioned, AI is bringing such a revolution that you really don't need to know these software languages. So somebody who is a commerce graduate can actually do coding for AI. So, but you need to know those basic principles if the way the business is happening. I think this is where the world is moving. So my take is we will go back to basics again. Uh, we predict when we say the industry, some of the solvers are predicted, there will be a lot of demand for the basic skills. There will be a lot of demand for the common sense. Right now, unfortunately, common sense is becoming uncommon. People are becoming like somebody asked overrated. So we are overrating so much technology and we are actually forgetting the basic principles. So my take is this is where I think we need to make sure our next generation gets ready.
Okay. So there is one more question. What do you see as the most disruptive communication technology trends that are reshaping industry globally right now? From what I go, it was AI, but sorry, if you want
No,
to.
so now I think, of course, as I mentioned, the evolution of 6G, 7G will again disrupt till the time AI becomes. So, because it will reduce the latency, the data transfer rate will be ultra fast. Take example, right now, if you are downloading, say, 1 GB movie in, say, a minute or 30 seconds, it will download in microseconds. So, this is a very crude example. But just take example, and if you see our Chandrayaan mission, and now the moon mission, what government has, communication is going to be the most critical, because how you will understand and communicate. This is where I think the most of the innovation is going to happen.
Uh, okay. I mean, I hope the participant got the answer. So, with companies like KPIT developing AI governance frameworks, how do you see rules of ethics changing from check the box requirement to core part of innovation process?
As I mentioned, I think earlier as well, I think say responsive AI or responsible AI is need to be a framework. Each organization need to come up, and there are naturally do's and don'ts as well. So each organization is coming up with framework. Government is actually coming up with framework. We need to follow that, and unless we really put those into practice, things will not happen. So you rightly call it out, Mr. Patil, that it is only tick the box. I think it is more. Practice than preaching. So if you practice, naturally it will be in you. So I think that is where companies like us are moving. And I have example of the work what we are doing in vehicle development. We are trying to do a lot of ethical AI to put into it. So take example, suppose we are traveling in autonomous, you really can actually make your car to go and hit the other car. That command you can give. Is it ethical? And particularly in cities like Pune and some of the other cities where if somebody overtakes you, you are not happy, right? You can give a command to your car to actually go past and give a hit to him. Whether it is ethical, it's not ethical. I think that is where I think we need to put.
Okay. Okay. So there is one, there are two questions I can see. How do you see the balance between hardware innovation and software innovation evolving?
As I mentioned, if you see the one slide I show you where we call it chip to cloud, uh, it need to be absolutely balanced, because uh, as I mentioned, the world is becoming more software driven or more IoT driven or more cloud driven. We can't ignore the hardware. The only challenge which we are seeing, hardware is becoming more and more commodity. All of us can imagine the mobiles, how the prices are dropping down, because there is a lot of innovation happening. The sizes of mobile. Similarly, is currently happening with semiconductor companies. A lot of these new technologies are getting inbuilt. And I give example NVIDIA. Why NVIDIA is suddenly become darling of the industry because they brought AI into the semiconductor. So there will be a naturally equal, I will say, balance between both hardware and software. Unfortunately, if you see, India has always focused on software, and that is where of late government is pushing a lot on the semiconductor, lot on the hardware. China, Taiwan has really made inroads and progress when it comes to hardware. Semicon, why they are the world leaders? Because they really did a lot of advancement into the hardware as well. So as a country, I think we really need to balance, and I agree, Ms. Ankit.
Yes, sir. So that's a true take, and I think it is also answering one of the previous question that what skills students must have so they can focus on these areas which you mentioned are the gap, particularly from the Indian perspective.
It's true.
Yes. So there is one more question. Will governments push for data sovereignty slow down the global communication innovation?
No, so I think it will have again, like as I mentioned, Europe has already data protection rule called a GDPR, like Global Data Protection Rights for individual organization as at country level. India government has also launched. So I think with the advent of technology, with the evolution, it will also have its own impact. And actually, Indian government has, if you see, our Prime Minister has chaired the AI summit which happened in France, and there we have called out what India as a government is doing. So each government is actually spending their own efforts. They are bringing their own, we'll say, framework. So naturally, the way that technology will change, the United Nations is also trying to bring the common regulation framework as well. So it will have impact naturally. Whether it will slow down or it will speed up will all depend on the way the innovation in next coming years will happen. If tomorrow it may happen that some new technology comes and quantum may become irrelevant, naturally we may have to apply because AI, nobody was aware AI will bring such a disruption 3 4 years ago, right? Now all of us are scratching our heads how to bring the data sovereignty when it comes to AI. So I think the technology is ever changing and we all need to ready. And now earlier the horizon was 3 years. Now I think the technology company's horizon is even 3 months to 6 months.
That's true, and this is alarming. Also, looking at, I mean, the way technologies are upgrading, way industry is upgrading, we have to
It's true.
like even as a teachers, as a participants, or as a students, we have to simply pace up
So
our
that's
learning
one,
processes.
as I mentioned, that's one difference we saw here in China. I think it's very tight ecosystem. And of course, that's how the government is structured here. So government, academy, and industry are so well connected with each other. I hardly found any gap, whether it is syllabus, because why they are able to make so much innovation is because it starts at the bottommost layer, which is the students. Same goes with the industry and the government.
Absolutely true. I think we have more and more questions coming, but now I'll hand over the dais to my colleague, Dr. Gopa.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's already
Yeah,
11:20
yes, sir.
for me. No
Yeah,
problem.
yes, sir.
So with that, we come to a conclusion. We will take the MCQs later, looking at the in the interest of the time. So, Sangram sir, thank you so much for answering all the questions so patiently and with so much clarity. And we really thank you for your insightful session on global trends in communication technologies. The way you have connected emerging technologies with the real world application made the topic really easy to understand and relate. And it gave us a clear sense of where the future is in terms of communication is heading. Sir, your forward looking perspectives, especially with the live examples and the practical insights, have truly added value to our learning today. And I'm sure that our participants are leaving with fresh ideas and inspiration. We deeply appreciate, sir, the time and effort that you took to be with us today, especially it must be very late hours in Shanghai. And your presence with us, despite your busy schedule, means a lot to us. Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Sangram, sir.
Thank you. My pleasure, and thank you. And sorry for holding you till late. It was the last session. Thank you once again. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much,
Good
sir.
night.
Pleasure is all
Thank
ours.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So,
Bye.
with this, dear participant, we conclude and call it a day. Our day 5 highlighted the future through smart city communication infrastructure and the global trends in communication technologies. This session inspired us to think how India and the world can collaborate for smarter and more connected society. Our heartful thanks to our speakers, Mr. Bhushan Deshmukh and Mr. Sangram Kadam, for today's rich discussions they hold. Participants, we request you now to kindly share your feedback before closing and calling it off a day. So, requesting co-coordinator ma'am to please share the link in the chat box.
Okay, I have shared the link in the chat box. I'll request all the participants to please fill up the feedback form before they leave for the day today. In the meantime, I will also post the same in our ATAL WhatsApp group so that everybody can have an access.
Participants, please be aware that tomorrow is the last day of our FDP and we encourage maximum participation. So the timings would be from afternoon 2 o'clock till 8 o'clock. We have scheduled 3 sessions throughout the day. One of the sessions would be co-shared, and by the end of the session, we'll be floating the online test, which will make you eligible for your certifications.